These 5 quotes have profoundly influenced my life, not just when I heard them, but to this day. Hello, I'm Ave, and this is Life and Flowers, a channel about living your best life over 50. But you don't need to be over 50 to benefit from these quotes. In fact, most of them I heard when I was younger, and they really helped me in my life along the way. This first one was from a coworker who became a great friend. And if she sees this, she's going to know who she is. Thank you. Anyway, I was a new designer in a flower shop, and I had an order that was intimidating me. She must have known because she looked at me and she said, "Are you feeling uncomfortable with that?" And I said, "Yes, I am," thinking she was going to offer to do it for me. But her response was, "Then that's what you should do." Now, I was a little taken aback by this at first and a little annoyed, I'm not gonna lie, but she was so right. Are you feeling uncomfortable with that? Then that's what you should do. So many times in our life, we want to stay in our comfort zone. And if we're always in our comfort zone, we're not growing. Now, I'm not talking about safety. If you're in a parking lot and you feel uncomfortable, get the heck out of there. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about learning new things, change, a new challenge, some time when we're pushing ourselves in some way and we're feeling uncomfortable. But once we push through it, we grow. And the more we do it, the more comfortable we become. And the next thing you know, it's second nature. So, if you're changing, growing, doing something new, and you're feeling uncomfortable with something, that's probably what you should do. This next one is similar in that it was said to me by a coworker who ended up becoming one of my great friends. And again, if you see this, you know who you are, and thank you. I was just changing my career. I was a florist. I had gone back to school and got an environmental science degree, and I got a new job as an environmental analyst. It was really challenging. It was a complete job change, as you can imagine. So many differences, and I was struggling a little bit at first, and there was a particularly, an ugly coworker that was really making my life very difficult there as a new person. And this wonderful woman who really I owe my environmental career to, she kind of took me under her wing, and she would try to coach me and tell me what to do and kind of help me a lot. She used to take me outside if she could see that I was getting particularly frustrated, or I would, talk to her on a break or something and kind of express how I was feeling, and she always listened with a really understanding and empathetic ear. And one day when we were talking about it, she said to me, "Sometimes you just have to put on your big girl pants and deal with it." And she doesn't like it when I tell this story because she thinks that it makes her out to be unkind. She was not unkind. She was telling me a hard truth that I needed to learn. Was it fair? No. Was it right? No. Was I going to quit because of it? No. Sometimes you just have to tough it out. You'll get through it, and you're going to be okay, and you're probably going to be stronger because of it. I loved this one so much when I first saw it. I don't know how I came across it, but it just came across, I don't know where, but I took a picture of it and I had it on my phone for the longest time. I'm going to read it so that I get it right. Thousands of candles can be lighted from a single candle, and the life of the single candle will not be shortened. Happiness never decreases by being shared. This was a quote from Buddha. For me, it applies to happiness, but also other things like love, like uplifting your fellow human, just being generous of spirit, sharing your happiness, sharing your joy, giving a stranger a smile. These things don't cost us anything, and the world would be a better place if more people practiced this quote. This one I actually made up myself, or at least I think I did. I've never really heard anybody else say it. I used it in my most recent Honest Fitness Journey update, and it is, if you gotta do it, learn to love it. I think this was creeping into my life over time, but I remember the first time that it actually hit me with that kind of specificity. If you have to do it, learn to love it. And it's when I was first living out on my own, out of my parents' house, and I was standing there in front of a sink full of dishes, dirty dishes. I was just struggling with this, constant dirty dish issue. Another quote that came out of this, here's a bonus quote: "It's a life of maintenance." Once I learned that, it was a lot easier for me. But here I am, just struggling with these dirty dishes, and by George, they show up every day. I can make it a misery. I can sit here and hate every minute of it, or stand here and hate every minute of it, or I can just get through it, not make a big deal out of it, and get it done. If there are things that you just have to do, it's better to try to find something that you can enjoy about it. I'm not talking about being complacent and not making changes when you need to. I'm talking about things like dirty dishes. You have to do the dishes. Someone has to do the dishes. Another example of this was commuting. I had like a 40-minute commute one way because I was going against traffic, but it still took 40 minutes for me to get to work and usually 40 minutes for me to get home. Enter audiobooks. I love audiobooks. I enjoyed my commute so much that sometimes I didn't want to get out of the car once I got to work. So try to find something you can enjoy in those tedious tasks that you just have to do. This last one is my very favorite. I got it in a fortune cookie right about the time when I was changing jobs from being a florist to an environmental analyst. As I mentioned before, this was a really big change, and I opened up my fortune cookie, and here is the actual fortune. I've had it for about 20 years now, and I had it pinned up in my cubicle and eventually my office, and it is "Act as if it were impossible to fail." Now, when I first got this fortune, I was struggling in the new position, and I thought it meant fake it till you make it, because I had to learn everything new. This was a complete life change for me at 40, by the way. And I used this phrase, this quote, to keep me going. Act as if it were impossible to fail, telling myself, you can do it, you've got this, just keep going, fake it until you make it. And that worked for me then. I did go on to have a good career. As time has gone by, though, I now read this quote a little differently. I read it to take action. Act as if it were impossible to fail. Don't put off those actions until you're more confident that you're going to reach the goal. Just start doing them. And I don't mean this to be reckless. Do your homework, do your preparation, but then take those actions. Try not to get caught up in self-doubt so that you aren't doing the things that you need to do to succeed. Act as if it were impossible to fail. Look at that goal, look at that brass ring, and reach your hand out and grab it. That's all I have for you today. And if you have any favorite quotes that you would like to share that really helped you in your life, please leave them in the comment section below. There is a very loud bird outside right now.